Welcome back to The Square. I'm your host, Curtis the Fifth.
And I'm Curtis the Fourth.
And today is June 22nd, so we are in the time period of Game 2 is tonight in the Western Conference Finals. Game 1 is tomorrow night, Wednesday night, with Milwaukee and Atlanta. But today we're just going to be previewing the conference finals on both sides there, kind of reflect quickly on a few of the teams that have been knocked out with some big news and some kind of big implications that have come out of what has happened over this past week and last weekend, really.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that really quickly, let's just do some housekeeping things. First off, always just like, rate, and subscribe to this show. Always going to help us grow and reach more people. Share the podcast. That's always, another good way of getting us out in front of more ears here. And then also follow us over on Twitter at @the_square_pod. You'll get information, kind of tweets about some of the most relevant stuff of the day, and questions of the day always go up there and on the YouTube page and whatnot. So follow us wherever you can. But let's get into the basketball here. Western Conference Finals are upon us, and I think we both agree this has been the most fun, most interesting playoffs that we've had in, I mean, I could even say probably last 5 years.
Yes. Because we can argue that, but definitely. But this has been quite exciting. I think I've came back in at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh, this certainly beats the bubble.
This is much more fun than the bubble. Let's start with things over on the Western Conference side here. Phoenix versus LA. Clippers finally get rid of that stigma that they can't make it past the second round. This is their first conference finals appearance
Ever. I could have sworn they had did it in the early 2000s, but they didn't. They lost in the second round in 7 games, so that was the closest they ever got. And I keep forgetting.
Did the same thing last year.
Is that what happened last year?
Yeah. They lost in 7 against Denver.
It was in the bubble.
Yeah, it's the bubble.
It's like end game.
Let's forget about that.
Just snap it away. Crap.
No. LA's here. But Kawhi's not. Game 1, they lose without Kawhi.
That was expected. But what wasn't expected was CP3 did not play, and somebody did not give Devin Booker the memo, because my goodness, a 40-point triple double. I like the way that they phrase it like that now.
Yeah,
they can't just say a triple double. They got to be, and it was a 37-point triple double. Like, how about it was just
But that's the other thing, and we've mentioned this before. It's insane to think that this is, out of his entire career, his first ever triple double. Like, the way he's played, I mean, he's always been that dude to me, like, where he can get his shot, he can play make. He doesn't typically do that because he's playing the 2 guard.
Mm-hmm.
But this is his first time ever getting a triple double, and that shocked me. I felt like I missed one of those times that he scored 60. He had to get a triple double at some point.
He didn't. I mean, but that's the thing. He's a 2 guard. We kind of discussed it last week. He's not necessarily going to get you 10 assists a game, because he's not out there just dishing. He does it all. You know? So he just kind of fills up that stat line, and kind of, he's efficient in all areas, and he's doing it in almost every category to some degree.
Yeah.
Now, unlike game 1, when it mattered most, the rebounds came, the assists were there, the points are always there. But good Lord, he didn't put up like a 27-point. I mean, come on, 40.
Yeah. He took over in that, and that's what I was talking about back in.
Oh, who? I ain't talking about Chris Paul. Paul who?
Paul George.
Yeah, from Mr. George. Who? Like, man, that dude look like, oh, this supposed to be your time?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, and this is what I was talking about going back to round one, where it's gonna take Devin Booker realizing that I felt like he's gonna have to have that moment at some point where it was kind of like that LeBron James D Wade moment where they have to realize that it's got to be D Book to take over the game to win it, and if they haven't had it yet, I'm scared for the time that it does happen because man, this dude is insane.
Just on what I've seen, I'm almost certain him and Chris Paul have had conversations like this.
They've had to
already been like, do your thing, man. I'll take care of the media.
Yeah.
You be the quiet storm over there, man. A few words, because I only heard him talk once they won the series. I'd never heard.
Yeah.
I think not since he was in college. Like when they had all 5 of the guys on the panel.
Yeah.
That was the last time I ever heard him actually speak and utter a word until they eliminated not eliminated. They beat the Clippers in game 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm thinking like, wait a minute, that was way. Maybe I did hear him at the end of game 4, but that was what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it just felt like a year ago.
Man, who did they beat again? Oh,
Denver.
Yeah, man, where y'all been? Goodness,
at home packing.
And they talking about they long gone, been on vacation for 2 weeks now. Like, yeah, anyway.
Insane. No, but it's Phoenix, and I've said it last week. I said it the week before that. This is the only true team left in the playoffs.
Okay, gotta be more. You have to, for the listeners, you're gonna have to clarify yourself.
Yeah,
I see some other teams over there. By definition.
By definition.
I know where you're going.
But it's they don't play like Milwaukee does, where it's Giannis, sometimes Chris Middleton.
Oh, that hurt you.
We'll get to the East in a bit, but it's not like the rest of the teams that are there. You have your guy, and then it's sometimes another guy. In Atlanta's case, it's just a bunch of guys. Somebody can step up from time to time, whether it's John Collins getting the 20 rebounds that he sometimes wants to go grab, or Kevin Huerter scoring 24 points when Trae Young can't buy a bucket. Right. But the rest of these teams are one superstar and then a collection of talent. Right. Whereas Phoenix is, we're going to play as a team. We're going to actually run plays. We're not just going to run it through one dude. Yes, Devin Booker is going to take over the fourth quarter sometimes, but we're going to play through DeAndre Ayton at times throughout the game. We're going to always allow CP3 to play make. We're going to make sure that Cam Johnson gets his minutes, and we're going to make sure Cameron Payne, he's that kind of little engine that spark off the bench. Right. And you also have Miles Bridges as well, where they from man 1 all the way down to sometimes it's 10, but usually their 9-man rotation is just always going to be you're going to get what they're going to. This kind of that New England Patriots type model. Just do your job and we'll be fine.
Yep, they run a system and run it to perfection. Where there's no big eyes, no little U's. Granted, when it's all said and done, Booker and Paul's going to have the most points, but
that's their job.
It's in the flow of what the offensive scheme is.
Yeah.
So they're not forcing up shots. They're not necessarily putting in, well, man, he's boosted up his minutes by an extra 8 minutes a game. No, the whole starting 5, because guess what's happening? The believe it or not, even though they not so much for Phoenix as much, but teams are shortening their benches as they get further in the playoff series. And Phoenix is down to 9 people now.
Yeah, right now.
We're going over in the East. I'm like, man, did 6 people even play for one of these teams? Like, man,
they shorten those rotations down to your starting 5, your 6-man, maybe a guy off the bench, but
possibly somebody getting foul trouble. They might just have to. It's almost they're forced.
You're lucky to have a 7-man rotation.
Yeah, which is interesting because the NBA has always been like that. I never understood what that was about. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It's just because not what got you there.
No, it's not.
But yeah, it's like, okay, oh, man, that's some cutthroat stuff, because like the closer you get to the chip, if you don't make the cut, it's gonna be it's gonna be so glaring and noticeable that you really didn't contribute to any of that. You were just on the team, type of thing. But moving on, I digress. It's an interesting concept that I see with coaches over the years.
I'm just looking at Phoenix's stats over this this playoff run here, and I'm just looking at effective field goal percentage, and all the way down to man 15 on their roster, they're all above 500 in effective field goal percentage.
Now, explain effective field goal percentage for some of us listeners out here, including myself.
Oh, jeez, I just lost it. It went away.
Of course, you just because it never existed.
Oh yeah, it's a new stat,
not a real stat.
It comes but it is basically weighting your 3-pointers higher as opposed to the 2-point field goal inside the arc, because it's worth more. So if you have a higher effective field goal percentage, you're taking smarter shots and getting more points per possession.
Okay,
that's basically what it is, and they're all the way down to man 15 on their roster from this season. Everybody is above 500 in effective field goal percentage.
Effective field goal, okay.
It's one of those advanced analytics that nobody really likes, but when you're looking at it, I mean, come on.
And that's showing what again?
It's showing how smart you are per possession with the basketball, really, because you're taking higher. You're taking a larger risk by taking threes, but it's weighting threes higher because you get more points per possession with that. So it's your offensive efficiency rating and your field goal percentage kind of put together.
Wow. And you said all the players were where?
From 15 all the way up to 1 on their roster are all above 500 with their effective field goal percentage.
Got it. Because I was looking at a longer list. And they have, out of the 17 guys on the roster, 16 of them qualify under that, with the exception of 1.
Yeah, Tyshawn Alexander.
Yeah, who is that guy?
Don't know. Yeah, probably hasn't played.
Screwing up all the stats here. Had a clean sweep. Unanimous.
It's just insane. They play, and that I think that's really what it comes down to offensively for them. They are super, and that's where Chris Paul comes in, where you are just insanely smart with the basketball. You know where to go, and you're not taking bad shots. So the way this team plays, the way this roster is constructed, and I think it's a travesty that the media selected Tom Thibodeau as the coach of the year, as opposed to, because I think what Monty Williams, he's going to accept his award for a coach of the year because it's voted on by his peers. So all the coaches say Monty Williams is the best coach in the NBA, or he's coach of this year, as opposed to the media being like, "Oh, yay, let's see. I'm happy with what the Knicks did this year. Let's just give it to Tom Thibodeau."
But you see, and the only other component to that is we when we had these conversations going into the playoffs, and then it looks like
they've been doing this all year. This is nothing new for Phoenix.
I remember that. But I remember when we had that conversation where I can understand how Thibodeau got that, and not even in a controversial manner.
You said that, not me. I was upset because Monty Williams should have easily gotten the media's coach of the year.
But there wasn't an outcry like there was a big snubbing about the coach of the year, because each year there's always someone that's gonna surface up. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Talking about journalists that do this for,
the ones that vote.
Paid journalists to get to do this. They always making it a big
it's a popularity contest.
Pretty much. But what factored into it is what I understood, because it was New York. It was more about, that's not taking away what Thibodeau did, but you have to understand, big picture, with all the coaches that they brought in there, none of them coaches do what he did in that 1 year. And I'm like, maybe, hell, if anything, it's probably just timing. They would do. It could have been anybody. but but now I'm gonna give Thibodeau a little more credit.
I'm not saying Tom Thibodeau did a bad thing,
which is fine.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying. Phoenix was doing it all year. Phoenix did not even get their flowers until after
they beat
LA. Thank you. But the award already was out.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at. That's what I said. If you just stop at the end of the regular season, I would even give you, they were doing it all season. Yes, and if they would have covered any of that, we would all seen it instead of seeing it just in flashes here and there.
This team is insane.
There, because Phoenix and Utah have been up there the whole time.
But that's because the reason why I have an issue with that take is because the media is also the one that votes on MVP, and Chris Paul definitely got MVP votes. So you guys were seeing Phoenix. You just chose to just kind of,
as you said, it's layered and it's encapsulated in a popularity contest first.
Fair.
Because they think you just it's coming. You said it literally. I'm just gonna need you to break down the process. That yes, it is absolutely. You blew the top off. It's just like the MVP. And I wonder, do I call the MVP a popularity contest?
Yeah, you
yes,
do.
I do.
Yeah,
yes, I do. I use the same term. Yeah, it just exactly. It ain't got nothing to do with. Come on now. I don't want to get into that, but it's the same difference.
Yeah.
It's just who you feeling. Who? Oh my God, man. Who you watched on every Wednesday night, and they were just making your Wednesday nights great all winter long. That's the people y'all voting for, as opposed to what are you seeing right before your eyes.
Yeah.
Is New Yorkers gritty, doing great, wonderful. Because with that being said, I'm like, hell, if you're gonna throw Thibodeau in there, I guess Nate McMillan should have been number 2.
Yeah.
And right behind him, but he wasn't. He probably didn't even get one vote. No one batted eyelash to this guy. And that was a team who beat his team.
Yeah.
With all that being said, why in the world is Monty Williams not the coach of the year?
Well, he's the coach. He did get a coach of the year award from, like, I don't know if it's like a
secondary.
There's a second coach of the year award. One comes from the peers, but the official one is Tom Thibodeau from the media doing the vote.
Yeah. That should be 100%. I think the coaches should be voting amongst each other.
And I think that should be the same thing for the MVP award.
Players
should be voting for the MVP award.
I digress from that. That I don't agree with. Because I thought about it, and I was like, no, the players is a little too cliquey and too cliquish at this time where they all of a sudden, because it's almost giving them like if we should allow the players to just select their all-star teams and stuff. Like let them be the.
That's what they do.
Just
in the NBA.
They do their own voting.
They don't vote for the guys, but they do pick the teams.
No, I mean like the fans. How the fans vote? No, like. Only players get to do the ballots now, and that's it. That's the only thing that's going to influence. Dude, you know how many 6, 7 men to come off we be seeing like 2 or 3 on each bench and all of a sudden now because man, you got to give it up because man, this dude he be putting in that work. Y'all don't understand.
I feel like it has to be one of those things where it's like. Kind of like with the Coach of the Year award where it's you can't vote for yourself. You can't vote for anybody on your team, but who do you think the MVP award is with that caveat? You have to pick somebody else on a different roster.
It could be.
I feel like there's always going to be a way to do it, but I would always weight that way more than these media shills coming out here and saying like, oh no, I really like what Joel Embiid did when he only played 40 freaking games this season. Get out of here with that.
I've never agreed with any of that whatsoever. I mean, when it came down to it, what does the media or a journalist, like how do y'all lead the voting for awards like that? Simply, you could sit there and say, because we're the ones who cover and watch them. Everybody's covering and watching them, technically, but
I'm technically covering and watching.
That's what I'm saying. That's not. I think in today's NBA, today's sports world, that's not a strong enough reasoning for anything at this point. I think that needs to be revisited. Or if they get a percentage of the vote, but not the majority. You know what I'm saying? Like just a small portion of it, where it would factor into it, like as a pie graph type of
Or
thing.
you can do your own. You guys
Or
get to
have the
pick it,
journalist version.
but actually have like a journalist, like the media, like kind of like what the NCAA does. They have the committee that takes it over, that is within the NCAA,
Right.
and they have the AP rankings.
Right.
So you could do it that way. I don't care if you do it that way, and you guys can talk about why you put them there and have those shows and do everything, and that wouldn't change anything, but I will actually respect the MVP award or the Coach of the Year award a lot more than what I do now, because it's just like, okay, come on. Clearly, I feel like everybody, if you actually watch basketball this season, everybody's going to say Monty Williams was the Coach of the Year, as opposed to not knocking what Tom Thibodeau did. Because, I mean, again, like you said, I don't know what other coach could have got the New York Knicks to the playoffs in playing the way that they did, how gritty they played this season. And that was fantastic, but it just does not stack up to what Monty Williams did all season long. Because, like I said, what you said was they weren't given their flowers until they beat LA. They didn't change the way they played once they beat LA, or even when they were playing LA.
Right.
Like, they've been playing that exact same way, and that's why I think that they have one of the best chances to win the whole thing this year, is because it doesn't matter what LA is doing, the Clippers are doing, what the Lakers are doing, Milwaukee, Atlanta is doing. They're going to play their style of basketball, and it's going to win out because it's team basketball. I'm going to make sure you do your job, you play your role to a perfect tee, and as long as you do that, we'll be just fine. And this team trusts each other. They have a unique chemistry that is one of the reasons why this series is very interesting, because CP3 is out, and when he comes back and when Kawhi comes back, how they respond to that is going to be really the crux of this series.
Right.
But the way that Monty Williams has gotten this whole team from 1 to 15 to buy in to play their role has been absolutely fantastic. And I think Monty Williams, I don't know how he didn't get a starting or a head coaching job sooner.
Well, I think he was. Yeah, I think
he's been on a few different coaching staffs.
I think he was on San Antonio's.
He was on San Antonio's.
He played for them as well.
But he's been on quite a few, and this is his first chance at doing it himself.
Gotcha.
But let's get back to that series. I don't know how we got into a Coach of the Year talk.
It's all about the series.
Yeah, but yeah, like Phoenix is, like I just said it. The Phoenix is really poised to win the whole thing because of the way that they play together, the way that their chemistry is. But like I said, the whole crux of this is going to come down to how Phoenix responds to LA when Kawhi gets back. If Kawhi gets back again, we don't even know what he's a day-to-day, but doesn't seem anywhere near close to being back. It is kind of where the whole injury report this year has been really confusing to me.
Yeah,
it feels like they've been holding off on making diagnoses. They've been holding off on actually giving a clear cut, like, okay, this is his diagnosis and this is the timetable for his recovery. Whether it's a day-to-day situation, whether he's out until at least game 3, game 4, whoever it is, not just Kawhi, but everybody. This playoffs has just been really weird how they cover injuries right now.
Right.
Which is, I think it's kind of been exacerbated a little bit because there's been a ton more injuries this year than there ever has been in the playoffs, with stars going down.
Why do you think that? Not to get too far off, I'm just curious. If you got a quick
I mean, I think it's a matter of both load management and that whole idea, and just the way some of these teams play in the playoffs, where they shorten that rotation, where everybody's playing 30-plus minutes a night.
I have a different
35-plus minutes.
I think it's a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of nonsense. But yeah, I was just curious what your take was, but that's fine. We can move on.
Yeah. No, but what do you think about this series with Phoenix and LA? Because, I mean, game 1 went to Phoenix in a very close matchup, but D-Book takes over, 40-point triple-double. And DeAndre Ayton had a fantastic game. Cameron Payne got a start, and he played better than they could have hoped.
Well, I would say, again, because the Clippers, can't say this enough, they already, skewed the seedings. This is technically probably our 1-2 matchup anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
And with that being said, the one fell. And that to that degree is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I'm saying I know the Clippers could have fell anywhere. I'm just saying whether whoever's 1-2, but the point being is Phoenix wasn't like if we were going into the season, Phoenix was not looked at as being a better team than the Clippers.
No,
top to bottom.
But I think it's just because we didn't know what CP3 was going to be this year.
That's true. Hell, I don't even think we knew what the Clippers was going to be this year. But
fair. That's very fair.
I know I didn't whatsoever. But with that being said, I guess I'm always siding with this whole top heavy model only because what was the purpose of the top heavy model? To advance you above beyond everyone else and give you the upper hand. Just on that context alone, let's be clear. Phoenix has been the better team and has been the best team in the West, period.
Yeah.
If not all of the playoffs outside of Atlanta. But
I think they've been better than Atlanta, but we'll get into the East side of things in a minute.
Better. That's an East better and a West better, okay? East better is gritty.
I think Atlanta has been more fun.
East has been gritty. That's what I said. See, you don't know how I used to be in the East. I'm like, that's basketball. It ain't supposed to be pretty. Then you get over here in Phoenix and oh my God, it's the both ends of the spectrum. Four ends away.
I am dying for a Phoenix Atlanta finals.
Why are you trying to kill my take?
I told you that because I was
going to conclude the whole wrap up with that. But no. Go. Now you opened it. Go.
These two are the most interesting teams left in the playoffs to me. Milwaukee, I'll get into the reasons why I'm kind of out on Milwaukee, as I know a lot of people have them on as the favorites to win. But Phoenix is a complete team. I'm not going to even reiterate that whole argument with what Phoenix is, but Atlanta's just they're so interesting over in the East, man. The way that they play, Trae Young had to me a horrible from what we've seen from him this playoffs. He had a horrible Game 7. But that team, Kevin Huerter,
horrible shooting
Game 7, yes. Well, but that's what he's there for. He's their number one scorer.
Well, it can be. However,
Kevin Huerter, man,
hurting them. Man, Opie Taylor, my goodness.
Kevin Huerter had an insane game.
Doc,
and this is also Trae Young is not playing his best, and also Bogdan Bogdanović he is nowhere near 100%.
No.
I don't know what's wrong with him, but he just is not himself, and he cannot get a shot.
I think he might have
some injury,
strain, a twisted knee,
something with his legs. But man, he is not himself, and he was taking ill-advised threes from the logo. I was like, dude, what are you? This is Game 7. You haven't hit a shot all night. Don't be shooting that.
Right.
But him and then Gallinari coming off the bench, and he had one of the best defensive plays, and he is clearly not there for defense.
No, Gallinari seen his opportunity. Bogdanović that was some open minutes sitting there. Like, anybody want this job, you can take it. He took that and ran with it. He like, man, you never gonna get minutes like this again, ever.
Man, but it's a fun team to watch. I love what they were doing, but
they are the Eastern version to me of Phoenix.
The
Eastern version. I hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I didn't say they're Phoenix
in
the East. I'm just saying they're the Eastern version of that Phoenix team.
Yeah,
they do play a team concept. Do not have the stars that they necessarily have, but they almost have the kind of that same.
It's the same model. Yeah.
That's exactly. Just
they want to play as a team. They want to keep the ball moving.
Mm-hmm.
The guys on defense that can play defense, you do it. You lock in. That's your job. But then also on offense, we're going to keep the ball moving. You're not going to know where the shot's going to come from. And then Trae Young's whole floater that looks like a pass but can also be a shot type thing where I don't know where the communication between him and Clint Capella comes from. But man, they have this silent like knowledge of knowing when it's supposed to go. Whether that's an alley-oop or if it's a real shot by Trae Young. But it literally looks the exact same whenever he does that. Like
start calling Trae Young Aquaman.
It's insane. But they have a star, they have a leader, and then
don't do this.
What?
You got me over here thinking about, man, who's gonna match up with who? I'm like, stop! I'm way ahead of this. Stop.
Because that Atlanta Milwaukee
neither one of them don't get there. I'll be upset.
Yeah, I'm gonna be hot.
Now, unlike you, I'm not as hard about the playoffs as you've been. Man, when you off on somebody, you've been brutal with the Clippers. Just for starters. That's just for starters. I'm just saying, when you out on something, you out. Like,
I'm out.
No convincing you.
No,
it's something.
My issue with the Clippers is that I just don't like watching the way that they play basketball. It's not that it's ugly. It's just it's not. Yeah.
It's not as ugly as maybe
Philadelphia.
In certain aspects, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Because I okay, for all you and one fans, granted, that's all you in Brooklyn. I don't like to see basketball like that. I like to see team basketball. That's just a preference.
I'd go to Brooklyn if I wanted to go see that.
Thank you.
I'll hit Rucker Park. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's fine. That's just not what I'm not interested in that per se. That's a personal thing.
Not in the NBA.
I'm not gonna knock if that's what y'all like. We're just gonna agree to disagree. That's just not. That's not a style I'm with, and that's fine. They don't play it solely, but they play it enough to be like, okay.
Well, when you lose Kyrie and you lose James Harden, that's all they can play. It has to be KD.
Yeah. Now, as we found out that their team's exposed. Yeah. Y'all don't really have it. Y'all have a.
We'll get back to the East.
I know. How do we? Man, we can never stay where we at. Like but that's how good the playoffs is. Everything is so interconnected.
Yeah. Well, but I wanted to talk about the Clippers because you were talking about how I was out on them.
Yes.
It's their style of play I just don't like watching. And that's why I've wanted them out of the playoffs so early. But because everybody imagine this. Dallas versus Phoenix right now? Oh my goodness. Sorry, not even Dallas.
Don't say
Luka.
Thank you. That's what you would have had me with Luka. I'm like, yes. Because I don't know who he playing with. I don't care. Just give him the ball. Man, I'm not big on Euro players, and I never have been. I only watched this man play in this playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe seen him. I told you I've seen flashes of him in highlights here and there over the last year or so.
Yeah.
He that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, the dudes of dude, like, they talking about LeBron. Okay, different type of category. But what I'm talking about, that guy. I mean, sorry, LeBron, you passed your prime. You're not that guy.
Not anymore.
Not like that. Not for what I'm talking about. I know people like, what in the world he's up? Yeah. He's not in this category. I'm so sorry.
Not in year 19.
He aged out.
Yeah.
so he can't qualify for this.
But so what it comes down to LA is I don't have an issue with the team as what they do and how they match up against other teams. Because I'll be the first hand to say when if Kawhi was in this series, this would be a much tighter, especially with Chris Paul being out. This would be insanely hard for Phoenix to get over. But I feel like with Phoenix, the way that they play basketball, I don't see how even when Kawhi gets back, how they're going to be able to kind of usurp and kind of get back to being the favorites because they're going to be. It's going to be a huge uphill battle for them. And I know Ty Lue has been making adjustments after game 2, and they've been down 0-2 in every single series this season. I think in most series last year they were down 0-2 as well, but still, it's just a matter of you can't keep digging yourself out of a hole. You can't keep making a hole for yourself in the first place.
That's true. And this particular series is going to be a little bit different because you got
true team that you have to get.
Well,
past.
I mean, they got past. They squeaked past Dallas, and Dallas what's the real deal. But they got a reprieve in the second round. Utah just
Again, collapsed.
yeah. They just kind of just threw in the towel and called it one. But with that being said, what's the fortunate thing, as you were saying right now, is like I agree. When he comes back, he's gonna have to still get his legs up on them. He's gonna catch. He has to catch up to game speed, series speed, all of that,
and the intensity that the conference finals brings. Where yes, Kawhi knows the conference finals, but the rest of this roster doesn't.
So once game 3 comes around, it's going to Kawhi has to get his legs back up under him. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to get up to game speed, got to get up to series speed, and D Book is going to have 2 full games as the sole alpha, hungry, mm-hmm. Basically looking to close the series out. Now with that being said, on top of that, he may be getting CP3 back at the same time. That's disadvantage
Clippers. Yeah, because you have to also take into account, like you're looking at the difference between CP3 coming back and Kawhi coming back. Kawhi's coming off of a knee injury where he's gonna have to. I don't think any way if he comes back in game 3 or 4, he's not gonna be anywhere near 100% to me. Whereas opposed to, yes, he tested positive for COVID, but he just put up a picture before game 1, actually a video of him with his kids. He looks like he's as healthy as ever. Like he's not dealing with the same ailment as what Kawhi is dealing with. When he gets back on the court, it's not going to be, do I trust my knee to be able to go take this shot? It's just, can I breathe when I get down the court? Right. So like he. Just like he'll be fine. It was. Do I got a pulse? All right, I'm good.
We're good.
Let's go. So yeah, it's just gonna be a situation where I feel like, especially when CP3 comes back, that's really going to be the biggest question for Phoenix is how do they readjust to CP3 being in the lineup? They haven't had him gone this season really, so with D Book being this sole alpha at the time, does he kind of not regress but revert back to being that, all right, I'm gonna just run my part of the system, which he's been doing all year. So I don't think he'd have any issue with that. But I think that they would be able to adjust back to just having CP3 back in the lineup a lot more effectively and efficiently than LA will be able to respond and kind of readjust when Kawhi gets back in the lineup.
True. I can see that.
So Phoenix, I'm ready for them in the finals. I'm hoping that this is a quick series for them, because I'm ready to see Phoenix in the biggest of biggest stages. Because I mean, people still aren't giving Phoenix their flowers, even now.
That's fine. I mean, but we're coming. This is in in the dawn of the falling. The fall of the super team and
let's get to the
top
East.
Heavies. I'm just saying. I'm saying in general, because the LA Lakers are out. Brooklyn's gone. Which we'll get to. But just these powerhouses came up in here, and no, I mean you got the Clippers here, but I mean
not really a powerhouse to me.
Don't really look
They're
like
not on the same level.
They kind of look like they are nicely.
They didn't look like one when they were completely healthy in round 1.
I was gonna say, this has got like a collection of talent, but don't really see y'all chemistry. Don't really see how that. Nothing's galvanizing. Nothing's really coming together.
You guys haven't really looked good as a complete team until game 4 of round 2 against Utah.
Yeah,
and then game 5 and 6 was without Kawhi. So
I'm gonna say this: Paul George and Kawhi has never met, ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they ever will. So I just, again, I'm saying this. I know we said about the series in the first, about the different respective series with the Clippers was playing in.
Yeah.
In the previous 2 rounds, I just don't understand. I just don't really know what to expect from the Clippers. Period. I don't know. They are they have no identity to me. Like they have Kawhi and they got this, but what is y'all identity as a team
Well,
with having these people? You know,
I
what
think
I'm
it's an
trying to say?
oxymoron for you to say that. Yeah, they have Kawhi when they're talking about identity because who's Kawhi? Like we don't like Kawhi has no personality. Like I don't think you can have an identity
Like,
when your number one guy has no
straight
personality.
milk carton.
Yeah,
You know, like dude, that's you on every milk carton. Like man, who are you?
you are as spring water could be, just as neutral as possible.
Wow.
I don't think that.
Absolute
Again, I
zero.
don't think that Kawhi could be the leader of a championship team.
Okay.
And it's just for the simple fact that he doesn't.
This is a hot take. This don't have to be one.
It might be. I don't know. You guys tell us if this is a hot take because I'm just saying what I think is fact. Because he was clearly not the leader in San Antonio. The team was already ready-made in Toronto, and I think really Nick Nurse was the leader of that team because he was the only one who talked on that team. And Pascal Siakam was too young to really kind of take over that role. Mm-hmm. And then here in LA, it is just him. Paul George isn't going to step on his toes because he can't back it up on the court. And Ty Lue only has a job because of Kawhi. So I don't see where in last year they faltered. This year they got lucky. And in both rounds of this playoff so far, they had Dallas kind of collapse at the end, and they had Utah completely collapse right in the middle of the series.
Right in the middle when it was all for the taking.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
Yeah. So okay. I feel like Phoenix is ready made, and they have one of the to me the best chance at winning.
They're that team. You ain't gotta talk to me like you ain't gotta convince me. I was sold. I was so well into them beating LA.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm like, not that they beat LA, I just need to see them get out that first round in general.
Yeah.
But the way they played and what they came back from, and they were on the ropes for a moment, and they just tested as that upstart team, and they came back. You know, they came back fighting. Go ahead.
And you know what gives me more confidence in Phoenix? Round one was a dogfight that they went through. No, it was only 6 games, but it's still a dogfight having to go up against LeBron.
CP3 did not play that whole series, by the way.
No, he did not. And he was hobbled even when he came back.
Exactly.
And then they fought and they won that series.
A lot of people forgot about that.
Yeah. But then in series 2, they completely dominate in response to what happened. They were kind of riding that high off of they were in a very emotional series with LA, rode that high, and they continued it all the way through that Utah series. Or not Utah, Denver
Don't they
series.
Remind you the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they rode it all the way through the Denver series and swept them. And it felt like they had years of break between them in game 4 of that Denver series and game 1 of the Clippers series. And now in just the kind of the stark contrast, you have so much off time and you still came out and played fantastic without CP3. Like doesn't matter where their situation is, whether they're coming off of a ton of rest, whether they're coming off of no rest, they are ready to play, and they're going to just. And again, it's just them playing their game. They don't care about what your scheme is. They're going to match up against you, and they're going to run their scheme, and they're going to score on
you. Yes, that is what we have witnessed in the West. Which tonight we got game 2, so I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Let's see what Mr. George put up today. Tonight, and will it be enough? Will his team follow him? Will they not?
And again, Marcus Morris, he's hobbled, but he's looking like he's going to play in this game. But still, I mean, they're in a worse situation than they were coming into the series. Without Kawhi, they're still losing guys.
Oh, and notable, Serge Ibaka is out.
He's been out the whole time.
Worth saying. When you don't have Kawhi, you go. Well, you don't have Serge either.
Yeah. So that I think we've giving
So
Phoenix enough flowers to make
okay,
up for.
so then give me your prediction. We'll just do it now. I know we don't do too much prediction,
Yeah.
but let's just get it out the way. By this series, before this we get deep into this series.
Phoenix in 6.
Okay. Now I originally, let me just say this because I don't even. Oh God, this got messed up with this whole situation. But before the series had started, when Phoenix was already there, and I was just waiting to see who was gonna make it. Once I first heard it was the Clippers, and I had finally went through.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out the matchups and is what's the name gonna play and this and that. Is Kawhi gonna play? I had it all. It was clear as day what my pick was, and I had Phoenix in 7.
Okay.
Then I heard about the CP3 thing. So utterly confused, trying to figure out what's going on with this guy. Finally found out maybe a day and a half ago that he actually had COVID,
Yeah.
because they just wouldn't report anything. Now I'm trying to figure out what is that protocol once a person's vaccinated, and coming to find out the NBA don't fully know too much. They
I still don't know because they were saying because everybody in the media keeps saying he has to. It's a different protocol for if he's vaccinated. It's like, okay, we've determined that he's vaccinated. What's the protocol? And they won't say it. Exactly. They're just like there's whatever the certain amount of negative COVID tests are. And I was like, what's the amount? Like, just say it.
Scale it back though. Now fuse the media into that, trying to report it. They're still till this date, still saying. I'm not too sure, but I believe he's actually been vaccinated. What do you mean? You're still on the fence about? And I'm telling you, there ain't one person. I've seen like 5.
Nobody knows, like, but I'm almost positive that he is. He was the one who did the whole coalition to get.
Why won't this man go on Twitter and just let everybody know you've been vaccinated and just so we can just move on to if nothing
People
else, tell the NBA because the NBA don't know.
Just get on your hotline and go straight to Adam Silver. Let him know.
This man, it's like are y'all gonna go over and talk to him? Yeah, somebody go call him and ask him a question. They're like, y'all asking all the wrong questions right now. So, where was I going with this?
Your pick.
Oh, my prediction. So I had Phoenix in 7. Now that I seen Kawhi go out, and that I seen what happened in Game 1, I have to say Phoenix in 6.
My prediction is based off of the fact that I'm thinking Kawhi's coming back in Game 3.
Doesn't matter.
If he doesn't come back in Game 3, Phoenix in 5.
Wow. Okay. Well, I know we're giving a real skewed, giving y'all contextual predictions here. So we got a 5, a 6, 2 6s, and a 7 theory. Yes. So.
Well, your 7 theory has already been thrown out because he's not there for Game 1.
Once I heard CP3, I threw the 7 game out. I'm like, oh, y'all can and y'all win Game 1.
Yeah.
That dissolves.
You're on cruise control now.
That dissolves one game right there. Like, oh, forget that.
All right, let's talk Eastern Conference Finals basketball here, or I guess Eastern Conference basketball in general, because I do want to relive a little bit of the semifinals as it just kind of passed this weekend, and everybody's had a chance to talk about it, and we've talked about it off air, but I want to talk about it on the podcast right now. I want to save the Atlanta-Philly series for a second because I know me and you both have takes on Philadelphia right now.
Yeah,
and that might be a whole separate conversation, but we'll get into it later on in this episode.
One brings a lot more to a lot's come out of that series.
Yeah, so much. It's been nonstop since they lost on Sunday.
It has been nonstop since Embiid got that back knee injury. That started. It's been
okay.
It's been
We'll talk about it. But I want to start with Milwaukee, Brooklyn. So the last time I went back and I just kind of remembered, we did talk about Milwaukee after Game 4. I think when the kind of the series shifted, where it was now even. We were shocked. But I still didn't see. I mean, I made the comment that I definitely think that Brooklyn had the advantage for Game 5, but Milwaukee had the advantage for the series and they would win in 7. My prediction was right. Chris Middleton called me out. He specifically was saying, Curtis 5, shut your mouth. I'm gonna show you.
And did he?
I
have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. I was like, wow.
My really why I want to bring up the series is not because of Chris Middleton and what he did. Chris Middleton, you can have your flowers. You showed me whatever.
Wow. Nice way to just throw him at him.
You are, for right now, you're not the problem.
Right.
My issue is, can somebody please explain to me, and then this is for the viewers, this is for you, why is Giannis not the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year Giannis, the 2-time MVP Giannis? Why are you not guarding KD in the fourth quarter of Game 7 in the conference semifinals of the playoffs, where it's from what it looks like and what everybody keeps saying is whoever wins this series is going to the finals?
Yes.
Why is Giannis not covering or guarding KD in Game 7 in the fourth quarter? Specifically the fourth quarter, because I get why you wouldn't want him in the first half or even the third quarter to guard him.
Okay, why would you say the first half?
Because clearly your game plan going into it is that Giannis is your number one scorer regardless. You can't dispute that with how this roster is constructed. Chris Middleton, he tries, and sometimes he is the number 2 option, but I don't think when Giannis is on the floor he can ever be the number 1 option. Now, you don't want to compromise that first half performance on the offensive end for that second half performance on the defensive end. And so if you're going to play defense in the first half, he's going to be gashed, and offensively, how is he going to be able to make it all 48 minutes to the end of that game to be able to kind of keep that energy and can sustain the level of scoring that they need offensively for him to play that and defensively to stop KD. So I get why you wouldn't want to do that in the first half. Third quarter even, I get why you wouldn't want to do that in the context of the game was so close. There was a bunch of lead changes in the third quarter, and I think at the end of the third quarter, Milwaukee was up.
Mm-hmm.
So they were at a situation where I was like, okay, we just really need you to hold off until the fourth quarter to guard him. And it looked like going into, I think it was like the last 5 minutes of the game, Budenholzer called a timeout, and Giannis was sitting there. There was a camera on the huddle. He snatched the clipboard from Budenholzer and was talking to I think it was either Middleton or it might have been Lopez actually who he was talking to, but he was showing him something on the board. And it looked like to me he was finally doing the thing that I've been questioning why he hasn't been doing, is I got KD on this play. I need you here, and you need to guard this and whatever else is coming. I thought that was the moment that I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But then they come back from the commercial break, and they break, and Giannis is just following Landry Shamet down the court. And I'm like, KD's at the top of the key. Where are you? Why are you not? And this is like in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Well, it's a couple things. I'm going to answer this from a fundamentalist standpoint, not necessarily from how the way the game is played today. Because your question kind of definitely caters to today's game.
Yeah.
I can't answer it based on today's standards. That's not the answer. Which, in turn, I can kind of understand why he wasn't sticking them down the stretch. And on one hand,
it's Game 7.
I know. Hear me out. I just stay with me on this. KD shooting lights out. I get it. You we need to find some way to stop him. Giannis might possibly be definitely your best defender, and definitely have the size.
He is a 2-time defensive player.
Stop. There's a flip side to this, though.
Okay. I'll stop.
So, damn, let me finish. When I get it out, then you can just crawl. You can just chop it all up like all you want. Because It's not what I'm about to say. It's not going to be a clear cut case. It's just there's several views of how you're looking at
I
this.
got you.
However, I'm gonna go with the view first, the one
Yeah.
I would go with. Now, with that being said, do you want me to say why he wasn't sticking his KD or why he was on the other guy first, or both?
I don't think there's any excuse for Giannis being on Landry Shamet. So just go with why he's not sticking KD, because I'm not even going to tolerate the why he's shadowing Landry Shamet for the entire game.
I have an idea, but but moving on. So and how this series was being played and how Budenholzer, is that what I'm saying?
Budenholzer. I say Holzer.
You know he's actually an ex NBA player. I didn't even know that.
I did not know that.
I looked at it. I was looking up something else. And I came across it on happenstance. I could oh,
that's interesting. I didn't know he played.
Yeah, I thought he was one of the Van Gundys. Like just kind of, I don't know.
Somehow you just know basketball.
I don't even know how y'all got in.
Yeah,
got in there, but whatever. With that being said, lose my train of thought here. Help me.
Giannis covering KD. Why is he doing that? You have
okay. Giannis on one hand, Giannis is the best defender.
Yes,
on the team, definitely the most athletic. Definitely will probably be one of, if not the best person, possibly to could stay with KD in these moments. Give or take.
Yeah.
Not sure where fatigue factors in by the fourth quarter, but whatever the case, it is what it is. Simultaneously, Giannis is also the team's number one rebounder. That's the other thing. And that, unfortunately, that took more precedence for me. Where, okay, if he's taking KD, who's going to rebound? I know, you got Brook Lopez, but he's not really in down the stretch. So I don't want to put that on Chris Middleton since he wants to take it upon himself to be this all-out scorer all of a sudden. He's not crashing the boards like that.
No.
Now, he did finish with 10 rebounds, but, he's doing a lot of shooting. He's doing a lot of other things, So who does that leave? Undersized Drew Holiday, very undersized PJ Tucker, and then you have a
Brook Lopez.
No, I already said Brook Lopez.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at then you're looking at Giannis's brother.
Thanasis.
Too short. Just again, Forbes is another point guard. Pat Covington is another 2 guard, and he's not playing any of his big people out. None of his big men off the bench because none of them up.
None of them are athletic enough.
Sorry, Bobby Portis. Just no.
We saw what Bobby Portis was in game 1 and 2.
I was gonna say from a tactician standpoint, that would be another body to throw at him. No, don't stop. Don't jump in yet. I was just saying just because I mentioned his name. Other than that, that's not part of my take.
No. I wasn't even going to get into Bobby. I agree with you. Bobby Portis is a no.
Right. I was just saying if you needed to throw a big body at him.
Maybe. I get you.
Let him chase him around for 2-3 minutes and then go sit him down somewhere.
Yeah.
But, so, and I would think down the stretches of the last few plays, yes, I'm all in. Giannis should be sticking him. Just through the duration of the game or the game flow, I'm like, no, it's going to keep him out of position where now you're forced to either keep Brook Lopez playing more minutes or, having to, stay in much longer than he needs to. Or if he got in foul trouble, you're forcing Chris Middleton now to have to take on another role. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not backing off of what my take was about him. That I don't really think he's a number 2. Is he playing at a number 2 level right now?
Yeah.
Sure. Yes, I'll give him that. I've said he's a 3 who plays like a 2 at times.
Yeah.
And now
I said he's a 4 that could possibly be a 2.
I understand what you said. My goodness. He about to have a killer game now because you're doing it again.
We'll get into that in a second. Right. You finish what you got to say.
So I can see how he got placed on
Landry Shamet?
Yeah, Landry. Yes, Mr. Shamet. That's what I said his name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's Shamet. Yeah. So, did you see my man's stat line? By any chance, look at Landry Shamet's stat line in Game 7. Yeah, specifically Game 7.
Let's see here. Landry Shamet. Where are you, bud? Oh yeah, he shut him down. He didn't do nothing.
No, he didn't. Landry Shamet shut himself down.
Not fair.
He has 1 rebound.
Yeah.
Yes, people. I just said that was it. 1 rebound. He has no shot attempts. He did.
No assists, no steals, no blocks.
What best way?
He didn't even foul.
What best way to cheat and allow your superstar to rest while playing? I know what you're saying, but I'm saying in these moments why I can see why he was doing what he was doing, because well, you're gonna have to find somebody else. That's why I think we talked about it before. This is where the Chris Middletons come in. All right, Middleton, you supposed to be that alternative guy.
Mm-hmm.
You go stick him. You're big enough, you're athletic enough to stay in front of him. You're not better than Giannis, but hell, I'm not gonna put Pat Covington on. I'm damn sure not gonna keep PJ Tucker. This dude, I already knew that was only gonna last for so long.
Well, no, so,
but go ahead. But I mean, but that's my take.
I get what, and
it was rebounds over defense is what I was getting at,
and that's perfectly fine, and I have no problem with that in quarters 1 through 3, and that is why because what you're saying, fatigue factor comes in the fourth quarter, and he needs that break, and and that's why he's shadowing a dude that can't do anything. But my issue is PJ Tucker had him all game, and PJ Tucker got in foul trouble in the fourth quarter. At that point, PJ Tucker, I'm sorry, I don't think he is absolutely useless in the block. He can get down there and he can get scrappy for a rebound, especially when KD's out on the 3-point line. So who are they? He's gonna have to go up against Blake Griffin down in the post, Bruce Brown down in the post. Yeah, he might be undersized for KD, but for those other guys, he's not. He can get down there with them, and so when PJ Tucker gets into foul trouble in the fourth quarter, and you got a dude that's heating up. KD got hot in the fourth, and he was literally a half a toe away from sending Milwaukee home on a play where Giannis should have been on him, and he wouldn't have not gotten anywhere near that good of a look from 3.
No, I don't like Nick Wright per se as a journalist.
Yeah,
I think he got some really goofy, quirky takes. He's funny. Yeah. He has his moments. It's just one of those I couldn't watch him day in and day out. But he made a very interesting counterpoint to that point about this KD half toe thing. Had Giannis not fumbled the ball in Game 6,
true.
There is no Game 7.
And I agree, I totally agree with that. But I'm talking in the context of just Game 7, because at this point you already did fumble the bag in Game 6. You have to show up tonight. And you have to do everything that you can, because it's win or go home.
Right.
And PJ Tucker is now in foul trouble. And the second that PJ Tucker picks up his 4th foul on KD, that is when I think the switch should have happened. Even if that's in the middle of the fourth quarter, that's when the switch should have happened, because Milwaukee was in the game the whole time. There's never Brooklyn was running away with it. Yeah, Brooklyn had the lead at times, but they never had any more than a 6-point lead at any given time. So my issue with them going up against for Giannis to be shadowing Landry Shamet, specifically in the fourth quarter, you could have done that all throughout 1 through 3. I don't have any problem with that. But for you to not be on him in the fourth quarter, in the second half of the fourth quarter, that I have a real issue with that, because if you don't have the physical ability to guard him or go just even take on the challenge of guarding him, if that's too taxing for you, you're not a star. You're not that dude.
Well, welcome to today's NBA.
And you're right,
because I to this day I still it never was edged in my brain. I have no memory of this. I never seen LeBron stick Kobe, or vice versa. I've never seen them match up against each other.
Yeah, but they also never played each other in a game 7.
I'm talking about just in.
I'm talking. This is do or die. This is a dire situation. You in
It's not a playoff thing. This is an NBA thing.
No, but this is to the NBA of today. This is at a point where it's not even about what position. This is positionless basketball. I don't care. Even if you're saying Giannis is a 4 and KD is a 3 just because of his frame, because
he's made my point with Kobe and LeBron. They don't play the same position.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that doesn't translate because you are the best defender on the team. He is their best scorer. Put up or shut up right now. Like in a game 7, in the regular season, no, don't guard him. Why would you do that to yourself? In the first half of this game, why would you do that to yourself? That's too taxing. You're the lead rebounder and the lead scorer. You can't do everything. You're not Superman.
Right.
So that I totally agree in all of those other situations. But fourth quarter, second half of the fourth quarter in game 7 of a playoff series, there is no excuses for Giannis not to be guarding their best scorer.
I mean,
and
strong take. I don't necessarily disagree with that. Just my view. I'm not on board with the positionless basketball anyway. It's like I'm sorry. I'm used to your 4 sticks stay his 4.
That's what they're gonna get you. They're both 4s.
No, I understand.
That's literally what they are.
Is KD a 4? Is he really?
He is on this roster.
I mean, yes. And I'm not saying no. It's just, yeah. Oh God, this little guard forward stuff that they're doing now is just ridiculous.
I totally get what you're saying.
But that's what I'm saying. A defined role, like your small forward stuck that small forward. It did not matter. Like just like as just as the matchup example where they when they do the whole LeBron Jordan thing. Not getting into that, people. But the whole point, some of the knocks was, who's sticking Jordan in the finals? Oh, who's Dan Marley? Who was that? Who was that guy? He can't stick him. Dan Marley was the shooting guard for Phoenix.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Okay. And Dan Marley was like a 2 or 3 time All-Star, a sharpshooter, was on the dream team. What are we talking about here? He wasn't no bum. Anyway, but my point being is, why wasn't, and then, I think the conversation went even as far as, why wasn't Charles Barkley sticking him? Why would Charles Barkley, 6'6" power forward, stick Michael Jordan?
And to a degree, I do. I mean, the only time I think that, because traditionally I would do the same as you're saying, point guard on point guard, center on center, everything in between, you're sticking the same. But to me, in today's basketball, I still don't even like forward. In today, I don't like forwards guarding guards. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, they're too quick, they're too shifty. You're not athletic enough to get out there. Maybe the only person athletic enough is LeBron, but even then, I'm like, you need to be on somebody bigger.
They keep trying to sell that. They really been trying to sell that.
I don't like it, and so, but I'm okay with what I think LeBron is a small forward. People keep trying to put him in the power forward position. I still think he's a small forward.
Never played power forward.
Yeah, so as a 3, I'm okay with him guarding a 4 because of his frame. He's a freight train. That's fine. I have no problem with that. KD, you're playing the 4. You are a 3. I have no problem with you guarding either forward position. I don't even have a problem with KD being 7'1", 7'2", guarding the center. Like, honestly, that's not in the paint, but out on the wing. If you're guarding Brook Lopez, I have no problem with that.
Right.
So, like, that guards can guard guards, whether it's a 1 or a 2. I don't care. But when it comes to like a 4 guarding a 1, that's insane. That's too much, and you're asking to get beat.
Yeah. Definitely different type of game, but that was part of my, it speaks to the philosophy of where today's game is, where it's, as you're saying, we're starting to call for, why isn't your best sticking their best? Because right now with the league, and as athletic as it is, you can almost virtually get away with it.
Yeah.
In almost any case, really, outside of, okay, dude, just to get you understand what I'm saying. It's like, okay, I'm not throwing LeBron out there on Trae Young.
No,
I'm just not. I'm like, yeah, LeBron, you come on, dude. That's just asking a little too
go
much.
get John Collins and be okay.
If anything, I'm just, but it's just, it's asking too much, and you don't generally see that. You're starting to see it more today, but and it's only because of the scheme and how they run their offense is why some of them have been as successful as they have been. They're not allowing these point guards to be able to exploit what they need to exploit, just in how we just out here shooting jump shots and perimeter shots anyway. We don't have a low post presence because that's the thing. They can get away with it because what's consequence is being pulled is being taxed to that team when you pull that big man out to go stick that point guard.
Yeah.
Not a damn thing. You got a center sitting down there. He won't even see the ball ever. He just, if you get off,
or if you're Philly, your center's out on the 3-point line.
Thank you. Matter of fact, he's probably one handing it over to the. So yeah, it's not a model I'm not a fan of. I can again in a switch here and there.
Yeah,
everything's fair game. But today's NBA has gotten so gimmicky and so into a scheme, and to the point of it's not even about they want to build these good teams and want to build these teams and say we're the best team. But when it comes to these defensive playing defense and the matchups, all of a sudden it ain't even about all that no more. It's about gimmicks and schemes, and who can let me exploit the mismatch.
Yeah,
the mismatch was only supposed to be who was the insubordinate of the position player on the team.
Yeah,
and they don't play it like that no more. We'll just out scheme you, and when we win, we'll say we were the best team. No, you had the good players. Y'all executed down the stretch better than the other team, and y'all coach had a better system or had a better plan. Very different than just leave it on the floor, let the players decide, and my 5 versus your 5. You just don't see that anymore. So
I have an issue with that in the playoffs for Giannis is that just because of his credentials and where we've crowned him at this point. You're a 2-time MVP. You're a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Come on, like I need to see it in a situation as dire as Game 7, and if you guys lose this game, your coach is getting fired. There's questions about should Giannis even still want to be in Milwaukee anymore? Should he have ever signed that contract? Is Chris Middleton the number 2? Like there's like the amount of the list that they would have had to gone down, losing to an injured Brooklyn would have been catastrophic for this franchise. Yeah. And so in that situation, if you love Milwaukee so much, why are you not like I have an issue with him not on just again in the second half of the fourth quarter. Outside of that, like I never again want to see Giannis guarding Landry Shamet with 4 minutes left in the game.
And in this take, this is what we call when 40 points and 13 rebounds is just not enough.
No, I said all that to say this, that is my only issue with Milwaukee right now.
Okay.
Chris Middleton, you are playing fantastic basketball. You have responded from games 1 and 2. You have completely changed the way that you bring offensive production to this team this season. Fantastic. Drew Holiday, you started out slow, but you came around. You were the guy guarding KD on the final shot of the game where he airballed that 3-pointer. Yeah. Brook Lopez, your time's done. PJ Tucker has been insane. He's been the one guarding KD for most of the game.
Brook Lopez time is done?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because he can't do anything offensively, and he does get rebounds for the most part, but
19-8. You just not you. Oh my God!
I'm out.
I told you when you down. I said this. You are down. I'm like, what are you? I don't even think it had nothing to do with the
in Game 7 though. But what about the rest of that series? Ill-advised 3-point shots in really bad spots.
Coach.
And that was one of the things that I was going to get to. I do think they still should look at firing Mike Budenholzer after this season. no matter how far they go.
Win championship, they should just let them go. I'm just saying.
They should think about it.
I just want to see how far you want to take this.
I do think if they do win it, they're not going to question it. But I do think, because if James Harden was there for games 1 and 2, even with Kyrie still going down, I think they won the series.
This would have been over, I don't know, last week.
Yeah.
Last Thursday or something.
Exactly. So that's a situation where I'm at, where it's just like Mike Budenholzer. It's not that he's a bad coach. It's just I think his time is done in Milwaukee. Maybe he needs to change the scenery.
That's good. With all these openings, I wouldn't be surprised. Even though they would just be like, well, just decided to go in another direction. Hey, I seen it before.
Yeah.
Why is it? Oh my gosh, Doug Collins.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Doug Collins, Phil Jackson. And I'm saying just as a point of reference, I was dead set against that. I'm like, why would you get rid of this dude? You know who the hell Phil Jackson? It didn't.
They're right
matter.
on the door.
I mean, we knew Phil Jackson was the assistant, but he was just a first-year assistant. He wasn't even there that long, but to find out now, he was being there to be groomed.
Yeah. Well, because that's also at a time where the franchise didn't talk about what their plans were.
Not at all. That's what I'm saying. All these years, I'm blown. Like, that changes. That's interesting because that was always the thing. Like, why did they get rid of Seth? But Doug Collins, it never made any sense. Moving on.
Yeah.
But I've seen this before, so it wouldn't be a shock for me to see Budenholzer. I think I said it right. Booze over here. I don't know.
Just call him Mike.
I don't know. He looked like Coach Mike, somebody like a high school coach. He looks like any everyday.
Again, I had no idea he actually played in the NBA.
Actually played in the NBA. Moving on.
Do you have anything else on Milwaukee or Brooklyn for that matter for this series?
Milwaukee impressed me. That's what I wanted to say. They were impressive victory, impressive win. They took advantage of the situation. Period. Yeah. They can sit there and say, "Oh, they had these injuries," and dude, what are they supposed to do?
Lose?
They supposed to play down to that?
Yeah.
We're not going.
I see that enough in the NFL.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it respectable. We're gonna just take our foot. No, I mean, because even you've seen how sloppy Milwaukee's sloppy. I mean, they impressive that they won
Milwaukee,
the series, but they
Philly, and Brooklyn are all play sloppy basketball.
Sloppy. I mean, ill-advised
and to a degree,
shots.
Atlanta as well.
It's almost like every player is given like you're given like 10. You get 10, whatever. We're not gonna question your shot at all. And you see it too. I'm like, what in the world? What? Why? Okay, Brook Lopez. I mean, you're only 7'12", but
why are you on the 3-point line? Atlanta, Bobby, you haven't hit a shot all night. Why are you pulling up from the logo?
Embiid, you're not even going into the paint. You stopped at the 3-point line and you just
waited.
No,
you stopped at half court.
And wait. And he's looking for the ball.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah. It's oh my goodness. Like what? I'm not understanding these schemes. Like, are y'all like the NFL where y'all only get like 2 practices a week and you get a walkthrough and
in the playoffs
and
they take that day of rest, they go watch film and then they talk about the scheme and they don't even practice.
That's kind of, I mean, you would think some of the games and some of these games we watch, you would think something like that went down. Like, did y'all even practice this week? Because y'all don't seem like y'all, none of y'all on the same page. Y'all, you see him, you see it on the playground. Like that guy just grabbed the ball and he just, oh man, well, no, don't shoot it, don't. And he shoots it anyway, because like, man, I'm shooting. That's how I was looking at Chris Middleton.
It's almost like everybody thinks that anytime they touch the ball, it's going to be the last time of the game they're going to get the ball. And I don't know what's causing that because Chris Middleton taking ill-advised shots you're the second guy on this roster. Why? You're going to get yours at some point. Right. Just let's play within the scheme. Giannis doesn't do that because he literally knows he's getting the ball almost on every single possession.
Right.
KD doesn't take ill-advised shots like that because he knows when he's going to get the ball, and he knows if he calls for it, he's going to get it.
Let's keep it going. Brook Lopez, you already know how this works. You're going to get the ball fed to you at the beginning of the first and the third quarters. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And then you might see a little play somewhere in the early fourth and somewhere in the mid second. That's how that works for a center. That's just that's not a number one. I'm just saying. That's just PJ Tucker. Sporadically within, you find a way to get 16 points. Okay, you piecework that through 4 quarters, off and on, playing defense. You know what I'm saying? You scrapping around. There are a few plays gonna come your way. There's a few passes. Just be ready.
Yeah.
And it just same thing with Pat Covington, and then of course Forbes just comes in and makes it happen for himself until Game 7.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
Understandably, I understand why he has nothing, but but he didn't attempt anything. I think he was in it just for defensive purposes anyway. But his little 5 minutes that isn't out there. But that's what I'm saying. It's understanding again what y'all strengths is and exploiting that. Milwaukee didn't do that in this series, which is why I'm so baffled, and they still won.
Yeah, and for me going in on Giannis not guarding KD in the fourth quarter, I will say I was impressed from the rest of this roster in games 5 and 6 for sure, but even in Game 7, the others coming through and just playing their role, sticking to what they knew they needed to do. And no, Game 5 they lost, but it was still a tight game. Obviously, KD went off, but at the end of the day, they kept their head down. They just said they don't care about the outside noise. Chris Middleton completely changed around his game, and he was an offensive powerhouse in games 6 and 7. Like he came through huge. I don't think that there's any other way of putting that. To go 23, 10, and 6 with 5 steals. I mean, like I can't say anything to that, but
solid all around game. Again, which is the argument. The good Chris Middleton showed up. The one
surprisingly
on
the road
don't ever see. The one you very sour, and it's understandable because for the first time I think in his career I could be able to say this. He showed up when he needed to.
And I'll say this. This is it's not that I never have seen Chris Middleton be able to do something like this. I've never seen Chris Middleton put together the 4-game stretch that he did towards the end of the series. Fair. He's never been consistent enough to do that, and that's my biggest issue with Chris Middleton. Now we'll see if you can keep it going against Atlanta.
And granted, we're looking at, remember the different models. This is not even a big 3 model. This is just really they got two All-Stars, and they got some, and they're trying to piece together a big 3.
They're trying to, and I think that they want Drew Holiday to be that third guy. He wasn't in this series, but if he can get fully healthy and he can get back to form, maybe he is. Maybe they do have a three-headed monster.
Possibly. I mean, right now
you got to prove it to me first.
Right, and just for just for the equity sake, it's Brook Lopez. That's who he has a much stellar career and has put up a very good series. I mean, to the point of saying like, yeah, Brook Lopez really has only started falling off the last few years. Falling off to the point where we know what he is. He's not that guy anymore.
I don't think I would have too much of I would not have that hot of a take on Brook Lopez. I'm air quotes there, guys, because it's really not a hot take to me. But I think if Brook Lopez was the 6th man, it'd be different. But he's a starter, and that's what I kind of have an issue with. I mean, it's just I'll leave it at that. I'm not even going to get into it. Let's talk about the other half of the Eastern Conference. Do you want to start with Atlanta? Just get that out of the way, get in their flowers first, or do you want to get into Philly?
No, let's do Atlanta first. Okay, the Philly thing.
Let's
really
wrap
the
with the Philly thing.
Take the cake, which is the strangest part about that.
Okay,
it's interesting you're on the same page.
Okay, yes, let's talk Atlanta. God, Trae Young, he is the other that dude in this playoff. Luka Doncic did it in 7 games.
No. Luka, he's Devin Booker, and Trae Young, dude. Like all 3 of them.
God.
Man, give me those three. Y'all,
And
any three? Nah, I'm kidding. Yeah,
no,
any three versus them three. I was like, yeah, okay.
I mean, in
Give me LeBron,
in 3
KD.
years, yes.
Give me LeBron, KD, and Steph. All right, nah, they ain't that dudes no more. But anyway,
It'd be close.
nah, because KD would stick Luka.
Yeah. Well, KD's sticking Luka. I think Luka still could get his.
Oh no,
I'm not big on KD's defense.
I am. I think he's lanky enough.
Just throw a hand out there somewhere and get it.
He's just long, man. He's like, look, dude, you can shoot over this rainbow all you want. We get off.
Sorry, no, but okay. So Atlanta, I think what did it for me in Game 7. I knew Trae Young was that dude already.
Okay.
But when Trae Young isn't there, I did believe, and this is why I took Philly in 7, because I didn't think if Trae Young didn't show up in a game that the others would be able to make up for it, for the scoring ability anyway. I mean, obviously they make up for his defense already. He doesn't have defense. But Game 7 showed me that it doesn't matter. This is a complete team, because Trae Young had an awful shooting night. He could not hit anything from the field. He ended up, I think, 5 for 23 if you're looking at the stats there.
Yep.
But he was 1 for 14 going into the fourth. And it looked bad. He couldn't buy a shot. I also was having an issue with his passing too. Even though he was getting the assists, some of those passes were a little bit errant. And even though that dude was wide open, it's still the pass is a little bit too high. It just felt like he was trying to be flashy with it, as opposed to just let's be effective and efficient and get it to where it needs to be. Let's hit him in stride type of situation.
Right.
But even with all of Trae Young's woes throughout the first 3 quarters, Kevin Huerter, Gallinari, and Clint Capella all came through. And I know I'm leaving out guys, but those 3 did it for that is their core right there. I mean, obviously Bogdanovich, when he's healthy, he's that other he's probably the number 2.
He was the X factor for me.
Yeah, but without Bogdanovich right now,
right?
Geez, this team, it shocked me. I did not think with Trae Young's woes, the way that he was playing, that they would ever be able to stay in the game the way that they did.
I have to admit, I didn't either. I thought it was over, but obviously it wasn't, as you can see.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make the mistake that I made in Game 6, which is when I walked away. Because I was like, they're down 20. I'm not watching this. I'm pissed. Like no one's. Only a bleeding heart, diehard, what do they call it? Cockeyed optimist. It's something that it's an old saying, but you can't see straight, and you're just optimistic beyond being optimistic. It's hoping against hope.
Yeah.
No. I watched how that game played out. I was done. I woke up at 3-something in the morning just to look at the box score of the other game that I fell asleep on, which was the Clippers game.
Yeah.
What? they won in Game 6? Like, how did they come back and beat Philly?
Not in Game 6. They lost in Game 6. You're thinking of Game 5.
Is that Game 5? Oh, Game 5. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Game 5. This time I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of a little hazy. Yeah.
It was Game 5.
In Game 5, my apologies. So I stayed with it. So, but I've stayed with it not with any strong expectations. It's just like, we'll see if they keep it. Maybe they could chip back into it. That was as much as I had. Nothing else. And then they just did what they did.
Yeah.
Of course, Philadelphia had a lot to do with that. But Atlanta, I mean, my goodness. East, the East, the Eastern Conference Suns over here just look nice. I'm just it's gritty. You know what this team reminds me of? The way that they're playing, their style. I, I I gotta stop doing this, but I do it anyway. Okay, I'm making an NCAA reference here. Just
Okay.
remember the Loyola team in the tournament,
Yeah.
Atlanta. That grit that
Yeah.
they play with. It's just real scrappy. Just it doesn't look pretty, but they have pretty moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
They'll go
just
on runs
a
that
little
are
bit of
just
flash here.
fantastic.
But then but when they go or they get they get stagnant, they don't necessarily look stagnant like how Philadelphia looks. Like
Yeah.
it looks bad, or Milwaukee, or like whoa, what? Time out,
Yeah.
man. Talk to these people. They can kind of play through it to a degree, or they got players over there. Somebody can actually hit a shot and break up the monotony.
Yeah.
Somebody where these other teams don't necessarily they can't find that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Overly impressed. Herder, I'm not gonna sit here and do some crazy ESPN thing like Herder's about to be an all-star next year, and no, none of that nonsense. But obviously a very solid player.
Yeah. Jeez.
And to think that's where the Bogdanovich hurt. So when Bogdanovich comes back, he's healthy, and then you got Trae Young, you got Clint Capella. I mean, and then you got Gallinari. And I only reason why I didn't say John Collins, because John Collins is going to be a free agent. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that.
No,
Don't want to go there. Don't want to go there just yet. But I knew that in the back of my mind. So I just whatever. But just to have, I mean, you take that 5 as a nucleus. That's not bad to start out with, and now you can want to piece it together and put more pieces around there. Atlanta's here. I think Atlanta's here to stay.
Yeah, Atlanta. I mean, Trae Young's not going anywhere. I think after this, this is going to be a take. The East, I believe, is his for the taking. If Atlanta decides that they're going to finish building around him, I think that we'll definitely be able to see it in this upcoming match, because I think Milwaukee is the other team that's really going to probably be their rival. Because Brooklyn's in a situation where I think they might have to tear the whole thing down, because I think if I heard the stat correctly, there's an estimated cap of like $112 million. And I know they're willing to pay the luxury tax if it worst comes to worst, but they're already over the luxury cap just with their big three. They're over the regular cap with just their big three. And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's a sticky situation there. But that's neither here nor there.
I think they're gonna try to run it back, but moving on.
Yeah, but I mean, I think if they do, they're gonna be in the same situation that they are this year. Health wise, I don't think that they can sustain it with those specific guys. I think KD can stay healthy, and I think James Harden can stay healthy. James Harden's usually an Iron Man, but Kyrie, there's impossible. He's never going to make it through. He's like Joel Embiid to me. He's not going to be able to ever play more than 55 games a season.
Joel play that many?
I don't think so.
Like, that's a lot.
I'm saying Kyrie. I think I've seen Kyrie maybe hit 60 one time, but still, like you need more of you. I've said it time and time again. I think I've hit this kind of cliche every single podcast that we've been talking about. But your best ability is availability, and he is never on the court.
Wow. He was on the court. He was on the side, but he was on the court.
And he was on the bench. But what I'm saying is that I think that this is really going to... I think the East is going to become a rivalry between Atlanta and Milwaukee for years to come if Atlanta finish building around Trae Young.
I can see that. Definitely going to start in this off season, not the one to fast forward their season or anything like that. But like every team, they got some work to do. Got a couple of nice pieces on the bench that they're not necessarily explore it. Maybe just another year, give it another off season. Hey, some of these guys might actually materialize into something.
Yeah.
I
And not
definitely
kill a
think
Kongu.
number one move to make and transaction to have, or to deal with and to take care of. Number one, what do we do with Tony Snell?
Is he a free agent?
I have no idea. Which asks the question: what do we do with
If
this
he's
guy?
a free agent, let him walk. If he's on the roster, cut him.
I don't know. Just buy him out. Just like we're good. But anyway, no. Man, I don't even know. You said it all about Atlanta. That's what I've been struggling with. I'm like, I really don't have anything to add to it.
Well, then let's talk about Atlanta. Kind of fast forwarding into this conference
Because I can
finals.
come
They
back
start.
into it.
We'll talk about Philadelphia to wrap things up. So let's talk about Atlanta against this series with Milwaukee conference finals. What? Not your keys to the game or anything like that, any stupid stuff like that. But just what are you looking forward to in this series? Like what are you looking at in this series?
Definitely. I'm curious as to what Milwaukee is going to do defensively, as to how they're going to address Trey Young.
I think they're going to throw Drew Holiday at him.
Wow, I was just about. Don't just say Drew Holiday. I'm gonna just ask the question again. What are you going to do for Trey Young? Because after all the playoffs that I've seen, you telling me at the end of the day, comes all the way up to the conference championship. Drew Holiday's that guy. Oh, is he now? Okay. Okay. So that's one.
I think they might take that whole LeBron approach from a few years back. They don't do it anymore, but if you go back to that 2016 year or just before that 2015, the whole idea about guarding that Cavs team was, we'll let LeBron do anything. We don't care. We're not going to waste our time trying to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to make sure that nobody else beats us.
Right. Contain Bosh.
Yeah.
Don't allow Wade to go off.
No, not that team. The Cavs team, where it was Timothy Mozgov, Matthew Dellavedova.
Sorry, people. I was completely zoned out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Moving
on. That crap team, the one that they lost Kevin Love and Kyrie
Absolutely.
Yeah. There was literally just, we're going to guard everybody else. You can barrel down the lane as much as you want, or Trey Young, you can shoot as many threes as you want, but we're not letting Kevin Huerter, we're not letting an injured Bogdanovich or John Collins get the best of us. It's really going to come down to Lou Will off the bench, Clint Capella down low, and Danilo Gallinari off the bench as well.
Yeah, I keep looking at this. I'm like, this makes for an interesting matchup. Because
my other thing, though, is also Okongwu, the rookie. Him coming in, I think he's going to have an opportunity to get some crucial minutes that he could possibly show something there, especially with the second unit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm watching, is the outside of their big three, their healthy big three right now. The others coming through in how they respond in that situation.
Yeah. With that. So I mean, but from the series itself, I think these two teams are actually, from an athletic standpoint, pretty well matched up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was like, this is interesting, because this is almost literally like, okay, Giannis being the talent he is versus Trey Young being the talent he is. Which one is the talents are going to prevail? Which one's team, and kind of springboard them past through the series? Because man, they're built. I ain't gonna say they built alike, but they're built in a similar fashion.
They both run an 8-9 man rotation. They've got a star in Giannis and Trey Young. They both have a number 2, Chris Middleton. I mean, who's the number 2 for Atlanta, though?
Who was Bogdanovich?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Bogdanovich is down right now. Like, If he's healthy, if he's coming healthy into this,
right.
Atlanta's got a real good shot. But I don't know how. Is he 80, 90%? Is he 75? Like I don't know where he's at.
We don't. And the next guy up, I would have to.
Is it John Collins?
I'm saying Collins.
Collins? Okay.
Personally.
Which is fine. I just didn't know who we would say outside of Bogdanovich.
It's not Herter. Herter's like the fourth guy and the fifth guy. But
who can get real hot.
He got hot. And I wasn't letting Game 7 skew.
Yeah.
I've seen him play. He's I'm not saying he's all over the place, but he's inconsistent.
That's fair to say.
He's not that guy who we seen, the other night, every night. That's like, he's not that guy. I wish he was, but he's not. With that being said, I think they very equally, like I said, they look very much alike. But at the end of all of this, I have to say it again. 9-7.
Making a pick here.
Gotta go with the inexperience. It's the only reason why I don't want to just slam dunk them to they close this out in 5. They close because they do play they have some sloppy moments themselves. They do. But on the flip side, Milwaukee has way more sloppy moments.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a 7-game series, and I'm leaning. I messed up last round and didn't follow my gut and didn't take Atlanta. I'm going with you, Atlanta in 7.
All right. I'm hearing it. Atlanta, they that team this year. I mean, granted, now let me say this. I know you're gonna have a very different take, like because from my history, my long history of watching the NBA.
Yeah.
For this Final Four, this has to be one of the most refreshing Final Fours I've ever seen in my life. Like I can't remember a time post dating the Bulls dynasty where I was like, I'm good with all 4 of these teams,
yeah.
You just don't see it often. And I guess I walked away and said, man, you telling me if the worst case scenario for me in the finals is to see Milwaukee versus the Clippers, I can live with that. That's not that's not bad actually. That's interesting.
I mean, it's fair.
It's just like wow, because we talking about a team that ain't been in the finals since 1971, and one has never. Yeah.
We were talking about the other ones,
right? I just was just starting there. I was going there.
No, I think you're right, and I mean, I think the only Final Four I can really think of is a Final 3. If I'm thinking about it correctly, I think Dallas was against OKC that year, and then it was Miami.
The year Dallas won?
Yeah. Was Dallas OKC that year? It's 2011, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That might have been because I was okay. I mean, obviously, I think Miami had a clear shot to making it to the finals. I'm trying to think if that was the year that they steamrolled the Bulls, or if that was a different year in the conference finals.
A second.
But maybe that one is probably the only Final Four that might have matched up. But that's also because it was Dallas versus Miami in the in the finals, so which was a fantastic final series, by the way.
It was, which was a reprieve from 2004.
Was it?
That's when Dwayne Wade had his.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Dirk was there the first time. It was interesting how it all came back full circle.
Yeah,
and then Dallas won. Go figure.
But yeah, I think you're totally right. This is especially over the last 5-10 years, easily. I mean, I don't think there's been anything anywhere near as interesting as what's happening right now.
What was your question again?
Who did Miami play in the conference finals? It was Chicago. I knew that was a year.
It was 4-1.
Yeah, we didn't have enough. I remember because I think that was the year.
Derrick Rose went down.
Yeah, Derrick Rose went down.
Yeah.
So moving on. I do agree with you again. Atlanta in 7. I wouldn't have an issue if Milwaukee went through. I really don't care who makes it out of the Eastern Conference. I just really want to see Phoenix in the finals, though. But I think it would be more interesting for Atlanta to make it through. I think even if the Clippers make it through on the Western Conference side, Atlanta being in the finals, the way that they play basketball, I think is going to be more interesting. Yeah. So